Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday to you all. I hope that you all had a restful and productive weekend. I know that I had an amazing weekend. I took Serenity to see Lilo and Stitch. That movie was a lot of fun, very engaging. I almost cried in the movie, but it was very touching. And, yesterday I took some time to relax. I had this nice seafood boil. But on Saturday, I have to tell you all about an amazing show that I attended and I hosted on Saturday for shout out to Styles by Chris. He had an amazing fashion show, and that was my first time hosting an event, and I had so much fun doing it. The crowd, the energy, the people, it was funny. And there were real moments on there where my part of my outfit couldn't fit. I was trying to get myself dressed in the back. I was doing outfit changes. But I enjoyed every moment of it. It was very, very, very insightful. I also want to shout out those of you who signed up and registered for our course this Monday. Don't forget to make sure that you are sharing it with a friend, a neighbor, a colleague, anyone that you know who is interested in getting started with their business. This is the place that you want to be each and every Monday, 5 o'clock live. And today, we have a special guest that I am so excited to introduce. Someone who embodies the spirit of hustle, creativity, and entrepreneurship. Please welcome Christina. Christina is the powerhouse behind Bella Vita Media Marketing, based in Pennsylvania. And Christina has worn many hats from waitress and restaurant manager to web designer and social media strategist. And now she's the founder and owner of her own digital marketing agency. With a degree from Indiana University of Pennsylvania and a passion for helping business shine online, Christina blends real world grit and marketing genius. Whether it's building brands, designing standout websites, or crafting killer content strategies, she's the go to for business ready to level up. So let's give it up for Christina. Christina, welcome in the room. How are you? How are you feeling today?
Good. Thank you so much for all that, Jasmine. It's nice to hear some refreshers of some accomplishments you've made probably a few years ago that kind of get forgotten about a little bit. So,
You are welcome. You're welcome. So, I have some questions for you. First of all, I see that you are in the marketing world. So, how did you first break into the marketing world, and what motivated you to build your own agency?
yeah. So, this is one of my favorite questions when people ask me because for me, my first response is always like, do you want the long version or the short version? So,
Yeah, the long version.
for my sake, we'll make an equal medium of the two. So, really what happened was, my whole life I grew up in the restaurant industry and I
Mhm.
worked for mainly mom and pop restaurants and I was an athlete. So I knew what it was like to work hard, to have a job, to, put in the extra work to reach your goals. And I like to use transferable goals a lot, especially now when
Mhm.
I'm working with people, because I think if it wasn't for me being a waitress and an athlete and a daughter and a friend and all those other roles we play in our lives, I don't think I
Mhm.
had the skills to do what I'm doing now. So when I played lacrosse my freshman year of college, I realized it wasn't my passion anymore. I was unhappy. And
Mhm.
going back my sophomore year, I decided to quit. And, I rushed to sorority and I changed my major. And things just didn't feel right for me still. I couldn't figure out my passion. So at the ripe age of 19 years old, within the matter of 3 weeks, I got someone to take my lease at college. With that money, I put a down payment for 3 months in Los Angeles, California, um,
Okay.
not knowing anybody there. And, yeah, Christmas and my birthday are a week apart. For my birthday and Christmas gift, I just said to my family, "Just buy my flight there. That's all I want. Just buy my flight there. I wanna get out of here. I'm taking a time off from school. I wanna figure out my purpose." So,
Nice.
went to California January of 2020, I believe it was, 2019, right before COVID hit. So
Mhm.
2019, and I was working on sets, and I was a barista, and I was just doing all these different things and all of these different side hustles to make money, and, my rent was paid for, but I still wanted to go out.
Mhm.
That's when I realized I really liked the production side and media side of things. And the place I was a barista at, they were another mom and pop shop, and they were struggling. So I was just like, "Hey, let me just take over your social media. Let's just see what happens." And things moved and happened from there. And, COVID hit, moved back home, and continued doing that for all the restaurants I worked with, building a really strong portfolio. So by the time I graduated college, my portfolio was really extensive. I pretty much, unbeknown to me, was freelancing the
Mhm.
past years. So when I was applying for jobs, I was getting called back saying I was overqualified. Everyone's always like shocked by this, like, what do you mean? And recruiters called me saying you're overqualified. And
Wow.
a lot of my interviews, I was teaching a lot of, the senior marketing directors about what's going on, because
Mhm.
so much has shifted from 2019 to 2023 with COVID and everything moving online, and I was a part of all that. So,
Mhm.
summer of 2023, getting denied from jobs, I was still waitressing, and I was just like, "I don't wanna waitress forever, I wanna be a part of restaurants for as long as I can, but not as a waitress or a manager, so what can I
Mhm.
do?" So I spent the summer researching and asking questions and hopping on lives like this, learning, and I took that risk and got my LLC and started Bella Vita, so here we are.
Wow, wow, wow. First of all, I want to commend you for saying, listen, I need to figure out what I'm passionate about and I want to figure out my why. I think that is extremely important to make sure that we're going after our dreams and ultimately what it is that we truly want to do. And you came back to the East Coast from living in Los Angeles.
I did, it was hard, but it was COVID too, so I think the comfort of knowing I'm home with my family, we didn't know what was going on in the world. uh,
Mhm.
I also see it as a blessing in disguise because everything out in Los Angeles in that world was years beyond what we were having here in Philly.
Yep.
And I think it really did happen for a reason, as corny as it sounds.
No, so I have a fun fact for you because I actually used to live in California. I lived in California for a few years, and Serenity was actually born in California. She's not from New York.
Wait, that is great. Where in California did you live?
San Diego.
Nice,
And we
nice.
actually flew back to New York in the middle of COVID. It was like right in March. And I remember I took the baby wipes. I like took the old baby wipes out, put Clorox wipes in there. I was wiping out everything. And then I had a separate separate wipes for her. And I remember going through the airport like ghost town. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, Lord, just get me and this baby off of this flight. She was a toddler at the time.
Oh, yes.
In
She's
one piece.
young.
The airports were deserted. And everyone asked me the same thing. They're like, you came back from living in California? I'm like, trust me, when I was in California, I will say I enjoyed the weather. I was my most fit at that time. And I think that was like the best I ate. So it did have its its perks and its gains, but like you, I wanted to be back around family. So I definitely understand.
Yeah.
And you spoke about launching Bella Vita, right? So, what inspired you to launch Bella Vita Media Marketing and Girls Night Out Philly? Were they born out of the same vision or separate ideas, you would say?
I would say, because Girls' Night Out Philly is collaborative with Olivia, as you might know. So
Mhm.
it's nice to have the background of starting Bella Vita before we went into Girls' Night Out. Um,
Mhm.
I started Bella Vita August 2023. Didn't go to my first networking event until February 2024, which is where I met Olivia. And then
Mhm.
it was August of 2024 where we combined our networks, and that's when Girls' Night Out was born. And I think I had a light bulb moment too, especially just being in the marketing world. And I know this is different for Olivia, where I was just like,
Mhm.
this is a good extension of Bella Vita. This is really great for the businesses that I'm working with or the businesses that I want to work with if we want to bring a group
Mhm.
of people into their actual brick and mortar stores. So
Mhm.
um, I think ultimately the vision of just helping people, I think that
Mhm.
remains the same, the consistent vision of Bella Vita. I want to help these businesses and give them opportunities.
Mhm.
Same with Girls Night Out. I want to give other women in business or other women, in the entrepreneurial world opportunities. I want to, share the knowledge. Um, I think actually I posted promoting this live today, and one of
Mhm.
my things was, if you know me, I don't gatekeep because I take pride in
Mhm.
I could tell you step A through Z, but, no one's ever gonna do it like you do. So, I think, I think sharing that knowledge and just helping other people and having the mindset of there's enough to go around, I think that is still the same vision.
Absolutely, absolutely. There is definitely enough to go around. What good is it if we have all this information and we just keep it to ourselves, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I always say that even just with my life work, what can I do to be in service to others, but also how can I give back and pass on the information that I've learned and things that I've learned and shared on the way. And this is actually how this live came to be and take place because I wanted to be an inspiration to other entrepreneurs who want to take the steps. And the courage ultimately to start their businesses. And I know you spoke a lot about marketing, and I'm feeling your background 100%. I'm gonna actually think about having you do mine, but let's get
I love
into
your marketing. Have you been doing it yourself?
mastering our business. They have been helping me a lot with my marketing,
Nice.
the campaigns that I do. They are amazing. And for those of you that are on live, if you're watching now, if you've watched before, I highly encourage you to make sure you're following their page, schedule a call with them because ultimately, sometimes you don't know what you need until you don't know what you need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes when you connect with businesses like Master in Our Business, um, and you have those conversations, you're then able to just and think to myself, okay, well, I actually didn't know that I needed this, or I actually didn't think about this, or I might have an issue pivoting this one thing. And so for me, marketing and branding was good, but I also wanted that consistency. And I needed a team of people that I could strategize with and partner with in order to help, the business continue to grow. And they've been a blessing. So
Yeah.
yes, they definitely shout out to them.
I love people just like that in general, and I think 'cause myself, when someone brings an idea to me, I like to
Mhm.
point out the things that they might not be thinking about, and sometimes people might get frustrated about that, and
Yep.
I think a lot of people might just say, like, "Oh, you're too much of a realist," or, "That's too logical," but really, I've walked it the past 2 years, so if you're talking
Mhm.
doing something similar to what I am, or if you're talking about doing something adjacent to what I'm doing, I'm gonna make sure you're equipped, even though it might sound like, "Oh, like, that's too much on my mind." These are things that are really important to think about as a business owner.
Absolutely.
I think that's why not everyone does it.
Mhm. Exactly. I was going to ask you, how do you approach building a brand identity for your clients that stands out in such a saturated market?
For me, really just taking this that's why I love working with smaller and medium-sized businesses, even like
Mhm.
Serenity
Mhm.
Nail Polish, the story behind it, right? Like,
Mhm.
I always like to use McDonald's as an example because even though the legend is old as we can tell, but, like, what is the true story behind McDonald's? Like, what is the true
Mhm.
story
Mhm.
behind the founder and the purpose? And I like to share that with the owners that I'm working with and the business people that I'm working with, um,
Yes.
when they wanna be a part of it, and I think just really sharing every individual business's personality through their story is
Mhm.
important, uh but, I mean, I say too, and I'm sure you've noticed this just with Serenity Nail Polish, when it comes to your marketing, you can't put all your eggs in one basket, so,
Yeah.
where it might be oversaturated on Instagram, it might not be oversaturated on LinkedIn, and where
Mhm.
it may be oversaturated online, it may not be oversaturated doing pamphlets or canvassing neighborhoods local to the stores, so I do like to go that extra mile and make sure we're being shown in more places, than
Mhm.
social media.
Okay, okay. So when it comes to I'm guessing you do campaigns. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you do
Yeah.
marketing campaigns?
Yep.
Okay. So how do you measure success in a marketing campaign, you would say? Like what key metrics do you focus on?
Yeah. So for our KPIs with every business, it's different. I've worked with contractors where we've compared, for instance, right now, masonry, it's their busy season because the weather's getting nicer. And what
Mhm.
we've done was compare numbers from the previous year to this year. And I love using Google Analytics because it tells you where all of your lead sources are coming from and where people are clicking on your website. But that's usually a discussion that I have with every client I work with. There's some clients where they're just like, I just want more followers. We're doing good in business, but we need a better social media. And I'm just like, okay, we'll measure this through follower success. But really, I try and encourage everyone to have numbers from either the previous year, have numbers that
Mhm.
are realistic goals for us to try and reach. Uh,
Mhm.
I think what makes, Bella Vita different is when a client of mine tells me they want 15 orders this month. I'm gonna be
Mhm.
that person and I'm gonna find 20 people to reach out to make sure we get 25 orders that month.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think
Right.
really going beyond just the marketing level and building
Mhm.
those relationships and having some sales knowledge as well and meshing all of them together um, works with just KPI measurement. Sorry, I'm getting off that. I could word forever.
It's okay.
I could talk about this forever. See, but yeah, we can either measure through numbers with just what they're making quarterly. We can measure through
Mhm.
followers, link clicks. That's another big one is link clicks when you're doing stuff on the digital world, making sure people are going to your website, checking you out, finding out more about you. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. And what are some of the most common mistakes that you see small businesses making with their marketing, and how do you think they can fix them?
Not investing in marketing in general,
Mhm.
um,
Yes.
and not interviewing like you're interviewing for an employee. I think when you're interviewing for a marketing agency, you should take the same approach. And I have friends that have their own marketing agencies, and if there's someone that even I interview as a client, and I notice, okay,
Mhm.
this might not be my bread and butter, but this is so and so's area of expertise, they would be a better fit.
Mhm.
I think businesses,
Right.
some people might be so excited, or they might think it's the perfect fit, um, but it's also the only person you've talked to. So I think making
Right.
sure you interview marketing agencies as if it were your own employee, making sure they really are, the person is your main point of contact, they can communicate efficiently with you. Um, but it's hard when it comes to marketing because it is a budget, and I think, most marketing agencies, it's an
Mhm.
investment. That's what the approach we like to take is, we're not just an expense every month for you or every quarter for you. When you spend X amount of dollars, we really wanna make sure you see this much in return.
Definitely, definitely. I know a few small businesses that have reached out to me before and asked me like what are my thoughts and things like that in terms of how they're marketing. I know like just having consistency when it comes to like the colors on your page or a certain look, feel, how clear your content is, how consistently you're posting, like those types of things. I know definitely stand out to me, and those were some of the things were very important to me when starting my business and even continuing on. And like, is the messaging that I'm putting out there consistent? Talking about one thing one day, and then the messaging is saying something different another day, right? Like, all of those things are super to marketing as well. What would you say are some like emerging trends in digital marketing that businesses should be paying attention to right now?
Yeah, I would say definitely events, as even though you said digital, hear me out. Soft events for influencers, I think that's a big one, and
Mhm.
just events in general. A lot of my friends in PR, we have these discussions all the time where influencer campaigns and ambassador programs and events are starting to slowly take that space over.
Mhm.
But with trends too, I mean, again, it's a hard question to answer because when you talk about the digital world, they're changing every second of the day. Um, but, I think making sure that you are staying on top of what your competitors are doing, whether they're geographically competitors or they're just, brand competitors, making
Mhm.
sure you're keeping up with what they're doing. Or
That is true.
making sure that what you're doing is working enough that they wanna keep up with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you spoke about events, right?
Mhm.
So what is the biggest challenge in creating events that you feel like the biggest challenge in creating events that not only attract people but like retain audiences? Because I know like with Girls Night Out Philly, you all do a lot of, creating events and stuff like that, but how do you retain that audience where people want to keep coming back? Because I know that's part of like marketing and buying as well.
Yeah, for me, it's personalization through and through.
Mhm.
For a majority of our signature events, Olivia and I have gotten gift bags together for every individual person. We've written notes, but also limiting it too. For Girls' Night Out, I guess it's really special because we emphasize on the intimate part of it, where
Mhm.
people are coming and it's not like you could just walk out without being unnoticed or walk out unscathed. Um, and I think making people feel welcomed. I grew up I all credit to my mom for knowing how to host because
Mhm.
I'm the type of person when someone walks in the room, if there's someone that walks in and I see that they're standing there and not talking to anybody, that's who I wanna go and approach and introduce myself, but go the next level of introducing them to someone else that I know there, so that way,
Mhm.
kind of just is a chain reaction. So making sure people feel welcome, they're comfortable, the thoughtfulness behind everything, and I think events can be hit or miss for some
Mhm.
businesses don't thoughtfully put it together. It could kind of be like a hot mess almost. I've gone to events and influencer things where it's been like that, um,
Mhm. Mhm.
so I try and avoid those mistakes.
No, that's really, really great. And I love the fact that you add the personalization piece in there as well. Because you do want to, when you go into a space, especially if you're going alone, right? It can feel like a little bit uncomfortable. Like, I want to try this new thing, but I'm not quite sure. But when you are walking into my space, what you're saying is, what I'm going to offer you is personalization. What I'm going to make you feel is seen. So that whenever I do a future event, right, you keep coming back and you are um getting that personal buy-in, which is really, really important. Um, and so like between running these two businesses, how do you manage running like two brands while still staying in that creative space and being strategic?
Being outside, that's always my answer. When I noticed I was on my computer all day,
Mhm.
um, when I didn't go outside for a day, like, I just know in my mind tomorrow's gonna be a hard creative day for myself
Mhm.
because I didn't do anything that expanded, like, my comfort zone. I didn't go walk down a different road in my neighborhood than so
Mhm.
being outside and detaching from my devices too, which is, it's pretty funny because I tell everyone I have less screen time than most people in my family.
We
But
have Go ahead.
I think it's 'cause in social settings, when people are just on their phone scrolling, I'm so sick of it by
Mhm.
that point. Like, I wanna
Yeah.
have a conversation, tell me your highlights for today.
No, it's true. It's true. It's what do you call it? I don't remember, but it's like I don't it's not phone addiction. They call it another name. But to your point, like your business is also offering the opportunity to bring back that social aspect and engaging, right? Suli, Aunt Jackie just logged on. Hi, you guys. We are here right now for our Entrepreneur 101 webinar, and we're with Christina, who is a marketing strategist, and she is also the CEO of Girls Night Out Philly. And she is on right now just sharing with us different business tips and tricks that she's learned along the way and sharing with her things that she's learned on her during her business and to talk to us about both. So I have a question for you, right? Because as a woman entrepreneur, we do go through some challenges. What unique challenges have you faced and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, this is a good question because a challenge I've just faced as an entrepreneur and a person and just a human in general is anxiety.
Mhm.
Um, and really making sure that those moments of self-doubt that we all occasionally get, I literally clear it out of my brain the second it gets in my brain, otherwise you'll be paralyzed for the day on that thought. Um,
Mhm.
I would say more specific challenges too was being young. being young in the industry, when I would pitch
Mhm.
myself when I just graduated college, or when people go online and they watch these videos and hear my story, why should I put my trust of my business in the arms or the hands of a 25-year-old? Um, that was a challenge at first, but I think, again, being a business owner, you have to be solution oriented. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, how can I change this to a positive? Well, okay, when I was working in a restaurant, I worked my way up to a manager and I was young for that. And when customers would complain in their 60s and 70s, like they would be,
Mhm.
I would be young there. And I remember a mentor of mine was just like, next time someone complains about that, remind them, you're right, I am young, but I think you're looking at it in a different way than I am, because this means I have a lot more to worry about in my future and of how, the connections I make. So when I started Bella Vita and someone would turn me down, like, oh no, I want someone more experienced, I was like, yeah,
Mhm.
you can have someone more experienced on the other spectrum of their career. However, I'm just starting out and I'm hungry and I'm doing what it's willing to take to make this work. Not for me, but for you,
Mhm.
for making this an investment for you. I'm going the extra mile. I mean, excellence is a part of our value, going the extra mile, doing more than what's in our contracts. And again, being young means I'm more hungry. It means I have more energy, just
Mhm.
physiology. And I have a lot more, I think, pressure of just making it work because I am young, and
Mhm.
I haven't made all the mistakes yet. So,
I think what you just shared is great. Do you know a Nicoletta? How do you say your last name? Is it
oh,
O'Rain?
yeah, yep, that's my mom.
She just logged on live, joined us on live as well. And we have the Tajania experience that logged on as well to join us. Hi everyone, welcome in the room.
Hey.
Um and you also, so yes, and Master in Our Business commented and said, yes, you have to go that extra mile. And it's so true. And you even spoke about having a mentor along the way, and having a mentor is just super super important, especially just like in business. Just when you want to seek advice or you have questions, you have that person that you can turn to. It's super important to have a mentor in business, right? And
Yeah.
how do you support or even mentor other women in business through your platforms that you currently use?
Yeah. I would say when it comes to supporting other women in business, I'm always like the type of person where in my head, a like and a comment and a share goes a lot farther than scrolling right past it.
Yeah.
Um, and for someone who isn't scrolling as much, because I'm mainly on social media for work, when I am
Mhm.
going out of my way to like, comment, and share things, it's because I do really want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
That I believe in you. And really, I tell everyone, let me know. Just let me know. If you want to grab coffee, let me know. If you want to give me a call, here's my number. I'm a phone call person through and through. And I have a good friend now, Brew, who just started her social media agency, and she'll call me like, "Hey, can you review this contract for me?" And I'm just like, "Send it over.
Nice.
Let me tell you like what's good. Don't make
Mhm.
the mistakes I made." So I think just genuinely caring and believing in them. I think when
Mhm.
someone has a business idea and you don't genuinely believe in it, but you want to still support them, that energy kind of translates. So
Mhm.
I think I try and stay connected with, those people that I do genuinely believe in, and I do really support their mission and their values.
And I love that, right? Like women supporting women, other people supporting other people, right? Like none of us can make it on our own. And during your time of starting your business, right? People were pouring into you, your mentor poured into you, your mom, poured into you, right? And it's just so important to have that tribe and that group of people to keep us motivated, to keep us going. What advice do you think you would give to young women looking to start their own agency or brand?
I would tell them, believe in yourself first off. I mean,
Mhm.
everyone in your tribe can believe in you, but it's not gonna get done and it's not gonna happen until the second you believe in yourself,
Mhm.
first and foremost. And then secondly, I would say just do it. Really, like, as that. Stop thinking about it. Stop, waiting for answers, I could give you all the answers, but the more you're searching for the whys and the hows, the less you're spending on actually doing it. Um,
Mhm.
I like to use my proposals as an example because every new client I get, it's a different proposal, and
Mhm.
I don't really have a template for them yet. And it's just like, okay, I don't know where to start. I don't know how to start, but I'm just gonna start because it needs to get sent. So I don't know. My therapist calls me a soldier, so I'm a little bit intense in that aspect.
Well, listen. That is okay. That is okay. You know what? I actually really am excited about the girls' night out Philly. I seem to be connected with people from Philly and Atlanta for whatever reason.
Two good cities to be connected to.
So I have got to ask, how has Girl Night Out Philly evolved over the years, and what has been the most memorable event so far? Because I think I might have to take a drive over there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could crash here if you need to. We're gonna have you there for
Oh,
sure.
thank you.
We want you there. We just love having anyone new come in and just
Mhm,
anyone just to share, like, their wisdom and their own experience, but I would say it's evolved just by word of mouth and by just growing the email list. I think we have over 400 people on the email list right now, which is
nice.
insane because it all started with, like, the 10 people I knew, the 10 people Olivia knew. We had a dinner, and then they were like, "When can we do this again?" And I was just like, "Oh god, we gotta do this again." So, and I was
How,
that
how often do you do them?
so when we started in August, we held a
Mhm,
signature event every month, which is a
mhm,
paid ticket event, and then 2 free happy hours, which is buy drinks and food at your own convenience. The happy
mhm,
hours are to build off those relationships you meet at these events because
mhm,
it's not your typical networking event where you just come in and meet people. We have
mhm.
things planned to break the ice. Our first ever, it was what was your first worst first date? And everyone in the room had a minute to tell like their worst first date story. And after that, it's just like we felt like we were all best friends. We were laughing at each other, we were crying
Mhm.
with stories, and people were getting really vulnerable with the stories. And uh yeah, so I think one of the biggest successes is just the community, really, like, to step back from it sometimes and see, like, people keep showing up because this is such a strong community, and
Mhm.
you have some kind of, part behind that is really cool.
Listen, I love that. I love the fact that one thing that I heard that was consistent in your messaging whole way through has been community.
Yeah.
You spoke about mentorship. You spoke about people supporting you. You spoke about ways in which you can support other people through your marketing and branding and strategizing with them. You spoke about Girls Night Out Philly. So I think that is like, listen, that is top tier. Um, I have a rapid fire fun round for you. That means you have like a minute or less to answer the questions. You
Okay.
ready?
Yeah, do this if I'm talking too much.
No, you're fine. All right, here we go. Instagram or TikTok for marketing in 2025 and why?
Instagram, because you could be more geographically focused and because it is cross-posted with Facebook. I'm an Instagram stan, so
Nice. Hi, Serenity. She said, "Let's go, mommy." She just commented.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm with Instagram right now. I know that a lot of great things come from TikTok, and I'm still trying to push myself. I get comfortable sometimes in the space, but the way of the world, you have to keep growing, expanding, and be on just multiple things. So definitely hear you that.
But
All
back to
right,
my point, we
huh?
don't put all of our eggs in one basket, so
Exactly. You definitely said that. We don't put our eggs in one basket. That's the key takeaway for those of you that are listening right now. All right. What's the one marketing tool you cannot live without?
the one marketing tool I cannot live without, I would say, I mean, Canva. I think that would be a crazy answer not to say Canva, especially with all these new updates.
Yep. All right. All right. I love Canva as well. I was actually using it today. I'm still a little rusty, but we're working through some things and it's gonna be okay. So ready, love you too. What is an event you dream of hosting?
All right, 1 minute. So I dream of Bella Vita eventually to have its own Vita network where every quarter we host an Italian inspired event where I grab different
Ooh.
regions of Italy where my family's from, and that's what the theme of the event is. So, for instance, my grandmom's from a place called Scerna,
Mhm.
which is along the sea. So I would probably do an event like my first one would probably be like a Scerna inspired event with a lot of seafood, a lot of beachy feels to it, and just really grab pieces from like the town itself and highlight that at the event. Yeah.
Yum. I love that. I actually really love Italian food, so that's right up my alley.
If you, when you come to Philly for a girls' night out event, you should stop here for dinner first.
That sounds like a plan.
Okay, well, we're gonna make it work, Jasmine.
So one way or another, we're gonna get you out here. Listen,
Yeah.
we're definitely gonna connect afterwards for sure. I have to make my way back out there. All right, and the last one, your superpower as a CEO in one word. Go.
Superpower as a CEO. My goofiness, my silliness. I think being a CEO, I think it's so important to be focused and hustle and work hard, but it's also important to remember you're a person. I'm young. I'm
Mhm.
25. These are supposed to be my prime years right now. So remembering to take advantage of that. Um, still just enjoy life. Like be silly. Don't be afraid to laugh. Don't be afraid to just, work hard, but still enjoy that glass of wine at the end of the night. I think that's like my
Mhm.
thing is
Listen, I love that. I love people with personality, and I can already tell that you are a bubbly person. Do you laugh a lot?
I do, yeah. I think it depends on now that I'm an adult, it depends what's going on with work because my
I'm the
family.
coworker you do not look at when something is happening in the meeting. Just everybody knows, don't look at Jasmine. Like,
Well, it's funny because when I run meetings, just like I feel like it's the bubbliness is kind of it's diminishes a little bit because it's like,
Mhm.
okay, everyone that works with me on my team, we're all around the same age. So it's just like, okay, we have to have a little bit of seriousness in here. So
Mhm.
let me lead with example through that. And I think knowing, the times and places when to let your really bubbly side come out and
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. Listen, I'm not mad at it. I want to thank you so much for coming on. This was fun. I enjoyed myself, and I'm definitely going to make my way out to Philly. But
yeah,
I want you to let the people know, recap for us who you are, where they can find you on social media, and how they can connect with you further.
great. So my name is Christina Arrangers. I'm the owner of Bella Vita Media Marketing. If you want to follow me on social media, you can follow at Bella Vita Media Marketing or at the letter C underscore world with two L's and two D's. And yeah, I mean, if you want to ever if you have questions, if you're someone watching this either now or in the future and you have questions and want to pick my brains, send me an email at Christina, no H, at bvmmarketing.com.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Christina, for coming on and joining us on our live and for sharing your story. You definitely dropped a lot of gems today. Shout out to Mastering Our Business as well. If you are not following Mastering Our Business, please make sure that you do. They also help out with a lot of your business needs. You can scan the barcode on the screen to go ahead and follow them and to schedule your meetings. Do not forget to, there goes the barcode right there. Go ahead and scan it in to learn more. Um, and also, do not forget to make sure you are following Serenity Nail Polish. You are signing up for our newsletter. We have some exciting, fun updates and events coming in, as well as new products. You don't want to be not in the first crowd to know what's going on, right? You want to be the first so you don't miss the exciting things we have. We hope that you have a blessed and productive week. And until next Monday, be safe, be well, and we'll see you next Monday live at 5 p.m. Take care.